So I got another blind reacts for today. Try to go through old Ted Bundy. This is a interview from 1977. Man, I don't know what it was in the water back then, but those guys were on a tear, terrorizing people. So let's see what we got. It's 1976.
We got to wear jeans and blue shirts.
Yeah. Is your family been up to see you?
Not as yet. It's a rather expensive trip.
Yeah.
It's been in Aspen. It's an expensive place to stay.
Your mom's still up in Washington?
Yeah, we started.
Pardon?
We plan to have her. I plan to have her down here sometime in June. All right. Okay.
First of all, I guess I should just ask, how are you doing up here?
It's a short question deserving a long answer. I'm doing well. I feel good. Working hard on my case. Need a lot more sun and a lot more fresh air, but other than that, I'm doing okay.
Do you get fresh air, sun? Do you get out?
Well, I get to go to the library. It's a 50-yard walk from here across the parking lot to the library, and that's my fresh air.
Do you have more freedom at Utah State Prison?
Well, when I was on the main line, as they say, in medium security, I had a lot more freedom, you bet. A big yard to walk in, and a basketball court and handball court. Your standard medium security life in a prison is a fairly decent existence, relatively speaking, to a county jail. County jails are by and large pretty confined and inhibiting sort of places.
Why did you decide to defend yourself?
I began thinking about that way back in Utah. I had a year to study criminal law in action, and I have a lot of I'm a very biased person, and I have a lot of strong opinions about how things should be done. And when I came here, I think that my opinions were established at the point where the method that my attorneys wished to impose here and my own did not agree, and we couldn't coexist. And theirs were right for them, and it might have been good right for me. I have the greatest amount of confidence that, at least in the preparation stage, that my ideas will work. And believe me, I'm not standing here alone. I'm just called to half a dozen attorney friends of mine today. Every day I get input. Every day I ask questions. But the reason I went on my own is because I just felt it was time. I felt it was right. I wanted to get involved. I wanted to become a part of my defense because I am such a part of it. I mean, obviously, I'm going to bear the consequences, so why not bear the responsibility of seeking my own acquittal and sustaining my own innocence.
Ted, when you left Salt Lake, when you were extradited, you issued a statement saying you feel that everything will turn out all right, that you are innocent. Do you still feel that?
Yeah, more than ever. Of course, you can't help but become an advocate for yourself when you're so involved in the case. And being a good defense attorney, and I'm not pretending I'm an attorney, but putting yourself in a position of being your own counsel, it's that positive psychology. You're going to do it. You're going to do it because you're right. You're going to do it because the person you're representing is innocent. It just happens to be, in this case, I've got a lot of stake, and the person I'm representing is myself, and I'm working all the harder. Yeah, I feel good about it, and yes, I feel that I'm right, and yes, I feel I'm going to make it. No doubt in my mind.
There's always one thing that amazed me. As you know, I covered your trial, and I was there every day. When the judge found you guilty of second-degree kidnapping, you never showed any emotion.
Yeah.
For somebody who believes he is so innocent, why was there no emotion?
My attorney, John O'Connell in Salt Lake, and I've always mused over just how
I got some opinions. I'm just trying to let him talk to get some clear thoughts out.
I should behave. What's the right way for Ted Bundy to behave and make sure that people get the right impression? And I just behaved the way I felt was right. Okay, let me take the day of March 1st. I showed no emotion. I felt emotion, believe me. Now, the irony comes here. When Carol DeRoche, the kidnapping victim from Utah, came to testify in this preliminary hearing here, I was beside myself with rage. She's turning into a professional witness as far as I'm concerned. She is a prosecution witness. And when I heard her go through that routine that I'd heard 3 times before, I had restrained myself every time. I couldn't do it this time. And I told my attorney, I said, I'm going to get up. And I got up and I pointed at the judge and I pointed at her and I said, she's lying. She's lied 3 times before and she's lying now. And I felt it. And he pulled me down and he says, listen, he says, you can't do that. And I said, okay, but I had to do it for once. For once I had to do it. And do you know something? People say, Ted Bundy didn't show any emotion. There must be something in there. I showed emotion. You know what people said? See, you really can get violent and angry. There's no right way for me to act. I act, and I don't care what people think about how I act. I act according to the way I think is right and best for me at the time. And I'm not going to try to please people or impress people because, quite frankly, the amount of bias and prejudice that surrounds me as a media image, I can't begin to tear down. Not with this interview or 100 interviews.
Ted, do you believe, I'm a person from the media, other people here, do you believe that we created you, that it's our fault, that we created this image of the mass? Is that what you're saying to us?
Right.
Well, I think in the course of doing your job, you did. Not in a malign way, not in a personal vendetta against me, but in the course of publishing the material and broadcasting the material coming out of the Salt Lake County Sheriff's Office or the Salt Lake County Prosecutor's Office, you began to plant the seed in people's minds. Now, that may be your constitutional right and duty as well as, your livelihood. But I think in the process, you did create a media image of me that's far beyond, the reality of me.
Teddy, what are you talking about? Bruh. All right. I don't know what part of life Ted is in at this point. I don't know if he kidnapped somebody. I don't know if he unalived them yet or what. I don't remember the story. This is what I'm saying about Ted. First of all, he reminds me of a more advanced version of Richard Ramirez. We talked about Richard Ramirez, and Richard Ramirez was cold. He was emotionless. But I said Richard had a problem, I think, with not being appreciated in a way. I think that was his problem. He was overlooked. He felt like he was overlooked, and his crime spree was based on, I think, in some part, him getting the attention that he thought he deserved. And I think we see a common theme in a lot of these people is that coming from the underworld, in a sense, or feeling like the underdog, I'm going to show you, again, going back to Adler, that inferiority complex, trying to work to the superiority. And I think a lot of these guys have that inferiority complex that is big, and their way of dealing with it is to be louder, to be bolder, to be brasher, and to take the stakes a little bit higher. And the only thing that separates, if you think about it, the only thing that separates a serial unaliver from anybody else is that they're just willing to take it to the next level. It's not that other individuals can't, it's that they won't. There is a moral clause or a moral governor that says, I won't do this. But this is my thing about Ted. Number one, he's like a Richard Ramirez. Number two, he's very manipulative. As I was thinking about him, I was thinking about narcissism, and I was like, yo, he's a narcissist. But as I pulled it up, as I was doing, I was asking, is Ted Bundy considered, or was Ted Bundy considered a narcissist? And from what I'm seeing here, and I think this is a study done from Purdue, saying that yes, Ted Bundy was considered to have a narcissistic personality disorder by many scientists, many psychologists. About 73, nearly 95% of people in the study diagnosed him with narcissistic personality disorder. Furthermore, they said that he had antisocial personality disorder, which is also known as psychopathy. It is characterized by a disregard for others' rights, a lack of empathy, and even a tendency to manipulate and lie. That's what he's doing right now. Borderline personality disorder, more than 50% psychologists in the study considered him to meet the criteria, and then schizoid personality disorder. 50% of psychologists thought that he might have that as well. And so, because of his history of brutality, of assault and violently unaliving individuals, diagnosis is not surprising. So yes, there is narcissism there because it is a huge focus on me and you're not representing me well. I don't think I should be the star. I should be the star of my story because I don't think that you're representing me well and all such as that. And you don't know what you're doing. And you fire these lawyers, but then you go out and go get friends. But the crazy thing is, Ted acts like life is going on as if he's not in prison. You know what I mean? Which is weird. It's not in prison for like committing assault against somebody. I guess that's what it is. You know, he's combating her on the stand. He's acting like, you know, he hasn't done anything. And now he acts like he has, like, oh, you know, it's just like he acts like he's just sitting in law offices outside in the real world, you know? Yeah, me and my friends, and you know, just so you know, people like me, and I'm an intelligent guy. But what I want to point out is the shift from the little facade that we saw in the first maybe like 4 or 5 minutes, the facade that we saw of, oh well, you know, one of the things that I like to do is I like to a shift of now he's starting to pick up with real emotion and raw emotion and anger. That is the schizophrenia that I'm like, it's a slight look at it, and I think it's coming up, and I don't even know if it's schizophrenia, but it's just like this man is unhinged. You could tell the way he picks up speed, and you can tell when he starts talking about people and how they think about him and the media thinking about him. He's starting to really get annoyed. You can tell from under the bags under his eyes, the boy's not getting any sleep. Probably staying up half the night trying to, you know, study and trying to get his case together to go in court and lie and say he didn't do something, and half the night probably just because, you know, driving himself crazy.
John O'Connell called the Bundy monster?
That's what he called it. I suggested to John we ought to get Mattel to make little dolls that walk and say, I'm the Bundy monster.
Ted, let me ask you this. You totally believe you're innocent.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not questioning that. My question to you is, how did it come to be that Ted Bundy could be involved in some of these things and has now been charged, convicted once?
Let's get to that.
First degree murder charges. And as you know, is being suspected in other murders. How did Ted Bundy come out?
Let's get to that.
Where did he come from?
That's a very long story, and I really can't. If I knew the answers to that question, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. I'd be back in Salt Lake with a new trial, and one day I'll have those answers, and one day I'll have a new trial. Okay, but I don't know why. Okay, I can't begin to understand why. I know that there's a lot of police ego on the line. I know that a lot of men in the detectives division in Salt Lake County Sheriff's Office jobs are on the line. I know that it's a long time ago it ceased to be an issue as whether or not I was innocent or guilty. The issue is now is, can we pin it on him? Can we follow through and maintain our reputation as law enforcement officers? And I'll tell you, as long as they attempt to keep their heads in the sand about me, there's going to be people turning up in canyons, and there's going to be people being shot in Salt Lake City because the police there aren't willing to accept what I think they know, and they know that I didn't do these things. And
okay, then how do you exist every day? How do you keep your sanity?
well,
Or are you keeping your sanity? You're a young man, you're intelligent, obviously. How do you stay in that little cell and stay sane?
They gave me a year's training course in that from March 1st of '76 until I was extradited to Colorado. I was locked up. I had a lot of time to work on being locked up. It wasn't easy at first, but now it's easy. I mean, they made me hard inside, and I can spend time in there. I don't like it. I'll never like it, and I'll never accept it. But I can deal with it because I know how to, let's say...
Have you trained your mind?
Train the mind, that's the word I was going to use, but it's not exactly training your mind. It's just creating your own environment in here. Mm-hmm. And not looking at the ceiling, and not looking at the wall, and not thinking about the outside, and not anguishing over the fact that you've lost your freedom. But simply in here, simply knowing that some free because... I mean, I live 24 hours a day, and that thing's sitting in the library.
What did you say, 6 by 12?
6 by 12, 6.5 by 12. If somebody talks to me, they're locked up. They're punished here. You know, they're told, you do not talk to Bundy. I don't know why. I don't know why they're so paranoid.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah,
Stick it up here more.
All right.
Okay.
That's what I was going to say,
How's this
man.
compared to the Utah State Prison?
It's a good deal.
You can tell from his eyes, man, this dude is deranged. This dude is deranged, man. He is off his rocker for real, for real. Like this dude definitely, I can definitely see that sort of schizophrenic, borderline personality disorder. This dude, like his eyes are just like, they're lit up. Like he just, and they're just like bug eyes. Like, and it's like he's doing everything he can to stop himself from going crazy sitting here. This dude is deranged.
Smaller. I couldn't give you any exact figures, but I suppose if I was in medium security.
It's like an evil scientist, a mad scientist.
At Utah State Prison, you'd have several acres to roam around in. All the blocks, the gymnasium, industries area, and whatnot. Even at maximum security, we got to go outside, go to the weight room.
What time do you get up?
6:30.
Exercise?
I walk about 2 miles a day.
Inside?
880 laps.
I haven't been following your case that closely, but you'll have to agree you're the target of a great deal of mystery, and you said earlier macabre interest.
Mm-hmm.
Why? I mean, you'll have to admit there's a lot of circumstantial evidence, at least circumstantial. It seems to somebody who has simply read the newspapers and articles.
No, I won't admit that. No, I don't call it, it's not circumstantial as far as I'm concerned. I don't really know exactly what you're referring to, and I don't really want to discuss it. But
why not?
I don't care what anybody says or the suspicions anyone harbors on the basis of that misinformation. And indeed, that's what
Charles did this. We looked at what's her name, his angel of death is what they called her. I'll come back to her. Now I need to know. Charles Manson, angel of death. I'm sorry, Charles Manson. Susan Atkins. Bruh. You know what? If Susan had ever met Ted, I would think that they would be a dangerous couple together, because I think they're both equally as crazy. Like, it's all in here, and Ted is admitting it. It's like you create a different space in your mind to go to. Oh yeah, absolutely. The borderline personality. And I think Susan was kind of in that range, not necessarily classifying it as that, but bruh, both of these people, like, they all kind of have the same denial, at least Manson, Atkins, Ted, they all say, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're referring to. I can't talk about it. I don't know anything. I didn't do this. I didn't kill one. I didn't unalive nobody. I didn't touch nobody. My only crime is going in there and looking at people and watching it be done. My only crime is sending somebody to do it. Bruh. And it's a problem because it's capital, capital unaliving people. And so it's just like, it's really weird. The delusion. I don't even think it's delusion. I think it's denial. It's flat out denial. I'm not going to admit that that makes sense. I'm not going to admit that you caught me, because like, I shouldn't be caught right now. With the smiles and the smirks on my face, I should have gotten away with this. That's what should be happening. I should have gotten away with this, but I didn't. I'm too smart for this. Especially Ted. Ted is like, I'm too smart to be caught.
I call it
but it's so funny, man, because when you understand Ted's story about trying to escape and everything, like, you can really understand, like, this prim, proper, buttoned up guy right here with the nice vocabulary and the smart, the intelligent antics. These are all antics, because at his very core, this dude is an animal. Like, he will fight and scrap and struggle to get what he wants. And by that, I mean to break out of prison, to jump out of a window, to get what he wants. He will break down and do whatever. This dude is crazy, man. Unhinged.
Information, perhaps, but misinformation as far as I'm concerned. A lot of people trying to pin a lot of stuff on somebody because, it's convenient. But,
Do you think you've been set up?
well, I don't think there's any broad scheme. I think one begins to, I would have to infer that based on some of the police activity. I think following November 75, you have to say that there was a general design amongst police officers in several jurisdictions to do whatever they could. And I think a statement recently made by a sheriff in Utah County, I believe, he said that he walked out in some of those meetings because it was just clear that they had one thing on their mind, and they were going to do anything to prove it. And I think this trial will show exactly what they've done. I'm not going to sit here and say people have perjured themselves, but I think that'll come out.
Are you angry?
Sure, I get angry. Very, very angry and indignant. I don't like being locked up for something I didn't do, and I don't like my liberty taken away, and I don't like being treated like an animal, and I don't like people walking around and ogling me like I'm some sort of weirdo, because I'm not. I'm perfectly happy with the person I am, and I've always been. There's nothing, I don't pay my telephone bills on time, and I don't write my mother as many letters as I should. There are all kinds of things I can improve about myself, but a weirdo knows I feel good about myself. I'm happy with myself.
You don't change, you stay.
Yeah, but Theodore, who else is happy with you? Because you keep on talking about how you're happy with yourself, you're happy with what you've done, you're pleased, but who else is happy? And I don't know what it is. I'm trying to pin it down, but there is something about his face, his facial features and his gesturings and his movements just right here. There's something about his energy that is, I'm trying to figure it out.
Ted Bundy 24 hours a day.
Well, gee, that name sounds funny. You know, I hear Ted Bundy in so many different contexts. I stay me, okay? I've matured in the past year. Believe me, I've grown in the past year, and I've learned a lot of things about myself in the past year. Being in prison, going through a kind of mature as a person, and I think it's done good things for me. My only misgivings is that I might never be in a position to apply it, on the streets where I'd like to apply it.
Do you ever think when you're in that cell about the possibility that you could one day face a firing squad?
They don't have firing squads in Colorado, and I don't think that in any event that I'd ever think. I don't think about it, honest to God. And I've been asked that question before, and I'm going to give you a pat answer if you don't mind. Did you fly over here from Utah?
Yes.
Did it worry you all the way over that you might be in a plane crash?
No.
Are you thinking about it now, going back? Same here. I think I stand about as much chance of dying in front of a firing squad or in a gas chamber as you do being killed plane flight home. Let's hope you don't. But
so you don't lie awake at night thinking about it?
Not a moment. Honest to God, not a moment. Because it's not going to happen. And,
Are you going to be a free man? Do you think that about being a free man?
Sure. Yeah.
And you think when I say there is circumstantial evidence that I'm in left field, there isn't circumstantial evidence?
I know there isn't. You're dealing on the outside, I'm on the inside. Okay? I mean, you have access to information, but I'm on the inside. I know what's there and I know what isn't there. I've seen the files and I've heard the reports. And Lord knows I'm the first and foremost person who has the personal and intimate knowledge that it couldn't be me, that it's not me, that I'm innocent. Okay? Dealing from that on out, I know exactly what's what. And when you tell me the circumstantial evidence, I'm not going to argue with you, Lucky. It's just, let's just wait and let's just let it come out in court. And let's let it be examined in open court. And I'll lay my money on me. That's the way I feel.
You think about getting out of here?
Well, legally, sure.
With the rumors that have gone on about you, and you're more aware of them than I am, how have you been treated in prison by other inmates?
Well, I think you
has
may
it made your life more difficult or more dangerous being in prison?
I think you may be more aware of the rumors than I am. For this reason, I have heard a lot of talk, and there might be an inmate X who says, Bundy's this and that kind of person.
That's what I want to find out. This boy got things going on in his mind that he's not telling you about. He got plans simultaneously working on in his mind that he ain't telling you about. That's why he would make that statement. Well, I want to do it legally, of course. In 1977, Ted Bundy had escaped from prison twice. The man's brain was working overtime, and that's why he got them bags under his eyes, because he trying to escape from prison. That's what he doing. He up to no good up in there.
But when I'm confronted person to person by these people, or by people in general, I have never I have never been accused, I have never been assaulted, I have never been verbally abused. And the reason is because I hold my head high, I believe in myself, and I treat every man with the respect that he deserves. And that's the way you get along in prison. One of the many ways you get along in the joint is that you treat a man with respect, that you don't try to hustle somebody, that you come across straight to him. One of the first things you learn, that if you're a straight con and you keep your mouth shut and you keep tight with good people, you're going to stay out of trouble. That's just, and it doesn't make any difference what you've done.
What happens if you're in prison 5 years and nothing like what has happened in the past happens again?
What do you mean?
I mean, any of the things that you have been accused of, by innuendo, by rumor, by the police departments or whatever. What if there are no kidnappings?
It's already happened, hasn't it? I've heard some reports. I number the incidents between 5 and 8, which are similar to the ones which the police have had the nerve to try to associate with me. It's going to continue to happen in Salt Lake and Utah until those police start to wise up and stop counting their chickens before they hatch. I think it's a terribly dangerous mentality to try to pin something on somebody who they believe there's a possibility it couldn't have done it. And as long as they believe that, they're not going to find the right man. And the man who kidnapped Bunch is going to continue to be free. And not only her, but every other young woman in the Salt Lake Valley is going to be threatened by that person or persons. And it's happening today, and it's going to happen in the future.
What do you think about, in your mind, what do you conjure up about the man that they're after, or the real man who did these things?
Yeah, please.
Man or men, persons, I don't know. I can't even begin to understand the mentality. I don't understand the motivation.
That's a good point to stop, because I had comments anyway. Ted, I don't know what you're up to, but this lying and carrying on. Ted died by the electric chair in '89. So, maybe 12 years later, he died by electric chair. First of the year, actually. And what he doesn't want to do is he doesn't want to fess up to crimes. He doesn't want to say that, this is me, because again, it indicates that he has been caught in something. It indicates that you guys actually got me, and I can't admit that. So it's more about my pride than, if he could take credit, and if these could be considered trophies, that's what Jeffrey Dahmer did. They were trophies to him. And a lot of times what these guys want to do is they want to hoist what they've done as trophies in front of people. That's why people write, notes on people. That's why Manson, was telling these women and to write notes on people and whatnot, and leave your mark and let them know, because they can't just unalive people and leave. They got to let you know that they were there. They got to identify themselves. It's like they don't want to be caught, but they want to let you know that I am evasive, or I am smart enough to outsmart the law, and I'm smart enough to outsmart you people. And Ted Bundy is showing the same kind of ideals here. I want to go back to something really quick before I end this and drop it off, because this is wild.
Between 5 and 8, which are similar to the ones which the police have had the nerve to try to associate with me. It's going to continue to happen in Salt Lake and Utah until those police start to wise up and stop counting their chickens before they hatch. I think it's a terribly dangerous mentality to try to pin something on somebody who they believe there's a possibility it couldn't have done it.
The way that he is shading, that's what I wanted to get to. The way that he is shading his language. When it comes to talking about being convicted about something or him actually doing something, he slows down and says, oh, it's a possibility that I could have done it, but they don't know. So he's not saying that he's innocent. He's saying that it's a possibility that you guys could be wrong based on this mental manipulation. If I can take away evidence here, or if I can say this to make you think something different, if I can persuade you. Manson was the same way. I'm just trying to persuade you. Eileen Warnos was the same way, in a sense. If I can persuade you and manipulate you and tell you that, no, you should think about it this way, then I can get off scot-free. And that is the most fulfilling and enriching thing about being a serial unaliver in their case, is to know that I beat the system and I beat it legally, right? Because I can sneak out of prison and run. I can say, oh no, I'm not really thinking about anything. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not worried about death. I'm not worried about dying. You got the electric chair coming up. They already, we're well past, you assaulting people. We're talking about you unalive people at this point, bruh. We already got you locked in for some stuff that you've been doing. And I think by the time he passed, they felt like there were some other connections to some other unalives that he had done that they just couldn't tie back to him, and he wouldn't admit to. So that's the end of this part. I'm gonna continue because this is a pretty long video, but very interesting stuff for sure. Stick around to the next video. We'll see you on the next run. Take care.